Now, ladies and gentlemen, after a month of waiting and having the thought that Valve left Counter-Strike 2 in the dust, boy oh boy were we wrong. Valve came back and delivered with much more than anyone expected, with not one, two, but three major updates. As most of you know, the first one on February 6th was CS2's first major content update, including a patch for fixing the game's most brought up problems. This seems to have satisfied all parties, the competitive hardcore players, but also the skins community. Kinda. The skins scene is still learning how to react to Valve changing crafting forever, with now the ability to put stickers in any orientation that you want, but also add 5 to each weapon. Today's video, we're gonna go over the most recent blog post, that being from last night on February 8th. We're gonna see some new changes and additions. If you want to see the details from those recent blog posts of what the most important parts are, specifically the call to arms update from 2 days ago, that video most likely went up earlier today, so go check it out if you're interested. Essentially, Valve's post last night is still fixing what the big update, the call to arms one, did wrong, plus a bunch more. Today's video sponsor is Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is a buying and trading marketplace where you can trade off your old skins for something new. All you do is log in with Steam, then you trade the skins you no longer want to pick up the new skins you want to obtain. Any remaining cash from trading goes to your balance that can be used in any future trade. By using my code Mando, you can get up to a free $5, and if you choose to deposit alongside using my code, you get a total of a 35% deposit bonus. With Skins Monkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, it'll be the top of the link in the description below. Firstly, I gotta mention, 3 updates in 3 days. Is Valve aiming for 4 days in a row now? That is a statement I thought I would probably never say, at least for the next few months, but I'm glad we're all wrong. Now, this all started yesterday afternoon from data miners such as GameFollower. If you go take a look at some of his most recent posts, he claims that a lot of the updates Valve is sending out for CS2, and some of these haven't released yet, especially at this time as well, they are password protected branches. So us, the players, can't see what's going on, but most importantly, can't leak or see what Valve is going to do before they do it. Because this was a pretty notorious problem in CSGO, but also at the very beginning of Counter-Strike 2. People were finding out things about the cookery knife months before it even got released. It's just a prime example there. Most of that update was in the most recent blog post that we'll be covering today, but is overall something I think you should take note of in case you see leak videos in the next few days quoting an operation is coming, but in reality, it's just a big bug fix. So take all that with a grain of salt. I now want to go over the blog post, look at the most important changes, additions, but also take a look at the community reaction. Now, as I'm recording this on February 8th, the same night that we're covering this blog post from earlier tonight, Valve released yet again another update, pretty much just a big miscellaneous bug fix. And this was fixing what this update did, which this update did to this, which this update did to this one. I know, it's very confusing. When you take a game that's pretty buggy and then try and update the game like this all at once that you're seeing from February 6th, there is going to be some problems. You're trying to change and add things so quickly and so much at one time, you're going to break something without even noticing you're breaking anything. Not everything's going to mesh well together. Sometimes we have updates just for updates themselves, and that's a prime example of what today is. So on February 8th for the afternoon in 2024, Valve has 5 different categories, that being arms race, smoke, animation, maps, and miscellaneous. The first one up here is for arms race. They fixed a bug where an extra kill with a shotgun before the knife level was counted as a winning knife kill. In the smoke, they adjusted player visibility in smokes. They also fixed a bug where enemies could see you on the radar if you were hiding in a smoke or near a smoke. Now that's apparently fixed. In the animation category, they fixed various bug fixes and tweaks to inspect animations. I can only assume this is most likely to do with the brand new cookery knife and maybe some other things that we'll get into soon. For the maps category, they fixed Nuke, Ancient, Anubis, and Mirage. The most notable one here is on Ancient. They fixed a pixel gap looking into bomb site B from the T side. I feel like this specific bug has been fixed and then broken and then fixed again really ever since CS2 first came out and we first saw Ancient introduced to CS2, but I'm glad it's apparently now fixed, and I hope this is the last one for that. The most notable ones here is apparently there's been a bomb glitch inside CS2 recently, or in Mirage, for an example, you were able to throw the bomb into Palace in a certain area where you couldn't reach it, so the round would just end if, well, you couldn't get the kill, which that's a pretty big problem. And that pretty much concludes the maps category. Just some good bug fixes and things that were needed. Most likely all this was caused due to the most recent update, but also some things left out from the update on February 6th. And then for the miscellaneous category, they fixed an issue from preventing some older demos from playing back, and they fixed various crashes, which I want to touch on the crashes right now. Crashing inside CS2 has been a problem ever since its launch, and I'm not talking about its full release, I'm talking about almost a year ago, back in March of 2023. Most notably though, going into its full release and up until right now, playing with some of my friends, I don't necessarily crash, but some of those people crash almost every game, which makes us use that technical timeout, which is over a minute long. Crashing usually happens at the beginning or the very end of a round, or at the very end of a game when you're on the loading screen, and also as well when there's usually too much going on, but most of the time it's never really when anything's going on. It's the beginning, it's the end, or it's the very end of a game, or sometimes when loading into a game. And well, since this update came out tonight, it's going to take a few days to really realize if this bug fix actually really did do anything. And for those who are wondering, I'm going to do an update video in probably 3 to 4 days discussing things like Peeker's advantage from the update on February 6th, see if it's actually a good improvement. So far it is. Hopping and just the movement itself feels the closest to CSGO I have felt yet inside CS2. Best way to describe that update is you don't feel as clunky. You don't feel like like a tank walking around, you just feel like air. Very close to CSGO. The movement just feels normal. And lastly, I want to mention for blog posts is the most recent one from February 8th, that being during the night as of me recording. They have one category, that being miscellaneous. Valve fixed a bug where some inputs were acting as if they were released prematurely. And this has been a bug I believe since CS2 first came out as well. One of my biggest problems with the game was, and maybe still is, if I click W or space, that being to jump or use my scroll wheel down to jump. Sometimes it won't happen for a few seconds, or sometimes it happens before I even do it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So sometimes it just feels like a slideshow as if you walking around, you can't control your in-game character. And that pretty much concludes the blog post, but now I want to talk about changes such as smokes. How much have smokes changed yet again, this being for the third night in a row? Well, they don't look as bad as they did the very first night when they first changed things, where it looked like a Minecraft smoke explosion where it was so pixelated, but it still doesn't look the greatest, as well as performance doesn't look very great either, which is kind of an issue. So I'm assuming in the coming days, if not weeks, they're going to start to resolve this problem, as well as send out some optimization updates for baggage but also shoot, since FPS and optimization for those maps are so horrible, which I actually might turn this into a commentary. This is probably the sole reason why Valve didn't ship out CS2 with every map CSGO had. Every map we've received inside CS2 over the course of the last year shipped with some major problems, and just the way shoots and baggage are right now, those aren't even the most played ones, yet they're still being complained about, and for good reason. You can't really run them. Imagine Counter-Strike 2 released with every single map like that, even in Premiere, on top of the other problems we already had, and on top of the other bits of missing content from CSGO as well. I'm not even really sure if Counter-Strike 2 would even still be around, so if Valve made that right call, I don't know. And the second and last thing up, which will be another commentary for itself, CSGO Legacy has apparently officially lost support and no longer works with our inventories, or even the ability to play with friends, which I have already tested this out. That seems to be true, but we already knew this due to CSGO's Legacy update, and that entire blog post discussing support will last until January 1st of 2024. So that pretty much concludes the most recent blog posts inside Counter-Strike 2. Let me know what you guys think down below. It's really good to know, but also see how much hard work Valve is putting in for Counter-Strike 2, not just with cosmetics, but also not forgetting about the hardcore players in fixing the game itself. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, stay sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.